The subscribe button's probably going to be really annoying to people watching. I don't care. They should subscribe. And like, and share, and leave a comment. G'day guys, and welcome back. This week I had planned on visiting our good old friend Russell from Mudfossil University, but a subscriber sent me a video from our good friend Eric Dubay. Dubay? Nah, Dubay. I really don't care how to pronounce his name. And they claim it is quite preposterous, and just reading from the title alone, I completely agree. As you know, I have not watched this video yet. I will be watching it and commenting directly on it. So, sit back and enjoy. So as I said in the intro, the title of it, Pseudo-Scientific Moon Magic. Well, that's already preposterously stupid, but let's see what he has to say.
In the heliocentric model of the cosmos, the moon revolves around the Earth 13 times per year.
That is correct. That is why the Vikings had 13 months in their year. I mean, also heliocentric model, when you say reality, it's the correct model. There is no other model that matches reality. But let's move on.
Traveling at 2,288 miles per hour.
I don't speak in the tongues of ancient, so I don't know what speed that is. I can't convert it to kilometers off the top of my head. I don't know the speed of the rotation of the moon off the top of my head either. So, anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll continue.
While the Earth revolves around the Sun once per year, traveling at 67,000 miles per hour. The following model and animation illustrate how this is supposed to occur. As you can see, since the moon is revolving around the Earth, which itself is revolving around the Sun, in order to maintain its regular orbit, the moon would have to be constantly and drastically changing its speed in ways completely unaccounted for by the model.
Unaccounted for? It's reality, and, well...
Gravity, you fucking retard!
In the outer part of its orbit, the moon would have to speed up 67,000 miles per hour, in addition to its regular speed of 2,288 miles per hour.
I'm not even going to try to explain orbital mechanics to you. You could probably barely understand shoelaces at this point. The moon is also affected by the sun, the sun's gravity. The speed that is given is an average speed. It's not an exact speed. This is what it travels at all the time. It does accelerate and decelerate. And its motion isn't circular around the Earth. That is a huge misconception. It's more of a oval shape than it is a circle. And same with the Earth's orbit. But it'd be easier for me to try and explain orbital mechanics to a flatworm than it would be to a flat earther.
Just to keep up with the Earth. So the moon would then be traveling at 69,288 miles per hour when it reached the front of the Earth. At this point, since the moon is allegedly 240,000 miles away from the Earth would catch up in just 4 hours, so the moon must continue traveling 67,000 miles per hour along Earth's trajectory.
You know nothing about math. You know nothing about orbital mechanics. The distance to the moon, again, isn't a constant. It varies. Now, if I remember, I might throw some screenshots of how much that varies, but it varies a lot. Same with the distance from the Earth to the Sun. It's not constant that the speed you've got here of, or the distance you've got here of 240,000 miles, or it's about 300,000 kilometers, about 1 light second. That's the average distance, not the overall distance, because it's constantly changing. In fact, the moon is actually getting further away from the Earth by about, I think it's about 5 centimeters a year or some ridiculous thing like that. But it also gets pulled back. So it's very complicated. Trying to explain it to you would be completely pointless because you don't understand. You refuse to understand. You can't accept reality for what it is. This is the sort of stuff you're taught in high school, and you will automatically say, you're indoctrinated. So, why do I do videos on you? It just pisses me off.
While simultaneously continuing its now perpendicular 2,288 mile per hour second trajectory. Then, as it turns to reach the inner part of its orbit, the moon must now slow back down to its original speed, allowing the Earth to pass by. Lastly, as it passes behind the Earth, the moon must once again quickly accelerate back up to nearly 70,000 miles per hour before getting left in the dust.
Again, gravity. The mass of the Earth tugs on the moon. You could probably not even tug on shoelaces. How anyone lets you use a computer to upload videos, I don't know. You shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't even be allowed to run a lemonade stall at this point.
In addition to all of this, the Sun itself is allegedly orbiting the Milky Way galaxy at 448,000 miles per hour, further compounding the problems and calculations of the heliocentric model.
There are no problems. You just don't understand the math. Orbital mechanics is extremely complicated. There are certain factors you have to take into account. And as I said before, the orbits are not circular. We show them as circular as a representation. Because otherwise people will be like, oh, how does that work? Like what you're doing right now, saying, oh, it can't work like that. It can. You know how we know it can? Because it fucking does. It's reality.
If this were true, then the Earth, Moon, and other planets would all have yet another set of ridiculous and impossible corkscrewing accelerations and decelerations necessary just to keep up with the Sun.
And they do. Gravity is one of the most powerful, yet one of the weakest fundamental forces of physics. Over distances, gravity still has effect on things. The other stars have an effect on the Earth. It is extremely minute, but it does. Your mass of you alone on the Earth has an effect on the other planets. It is completely irrelevant how much that is. It's so insignificant as to be not worth noting. But it still has an effect. Over distances, gravity is unstoppable.
And for the cherry on top, all of these calculations have been assuming perfectly circular orbits.
No, you see, no, they don't. You're assuming perfectly circular orbits because you've seen it in a textbook somewhere. This proves that you understand nothing about the physics behind it. Nothing in the universe is circular. If it is, then it is artificial and we found aliens. It isn't.
But the actual heliocentric model claims that the moon's orbit around the Earth's orbit around the sun, and the sun's orbit around the Milky Way are all elliptical, not...
They are elliptical, and this animation's wrong anyway. The sun doesn't move that way according to the planets. The planets are orbiting on the same plane as the sun. It's just the way the galaxy works.
circular, meaning there would be even more additional accelerations and decelerations to calculate depending where each one is along its elliptical path. These constant and drastic accelerations and decelerations necessitated by the heliocentric model are rarely, if ever, mentioned by globe believers.
Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It does happen. People, globe believers, meaning the vast majority of people on the globe, they're not believers, they just know it is a fact. And as for this image you've popped up, the constellations have changed, actually. And the changes are minute, but here's a fun thing about the galaxy. Everything in the galaxy is rotating at the same speed with the galaxy. So the constellations aren't going to change that much. They have changed, but not enough to be significant over 2,000 years. Even over 10,000 years. It's not significant. The size of the galaxy is incomprehensible to the human mind. It is so big. It even blows my mind how big the galaxy actually is. There are stars in the galaxy we can't see because they are so far away. So why would the constellations change? If they're moving along with us, everything in the universe is constantly in motion. Nothing is static. Ever. Let that sink in.
Because they have always been taught that the reason we do not feel or experience any of this supposed motion is because we always travel at a constant velocity.
Well, that's not true. As for this image, well, the small spinny thing, yeah, it'll make you go a bit funny, and the other spinny thing, that'll make you probably vomit, which is kind of fun. But the Earth, the size of the Earth compared to the size of those other two things, and you on them, the size of the Earth is... I don't think you can even grasp the size of the Earth. It is huge. And those other things are really tiny. And you are really tiny. You're smaller than those things. And those things are on the Earth. This is why I don't understand why you flat earthers think this way. You think everything is small, and it's not. Everything is really, really, really big. You are small. You are tiny. To the universe, you are insignificant. Completely insignificant. Here's a funny thing. The electrons in the atoms that make up your body are spinning really, really fast. But you can't feel them. But they're there. There is billions of bacteria inside your body right now. You can't feel them, but they are there. The scale of things matters. It's everything. And you understand none of it. And you're not willing to understand any of it. Because you are so indoctrinated in this flat earth conspiracy that is utterly ridiculous.
In their own model, however, due to their elliptical orbits and revolving around other revolving bodies, the Moon, Sun, Earth, and other planets could not maintain constant velocities and would instead be regularly accelerating and decelerating.
Again, that's irrelevant and completely wrong. The Earth isn't constantly changing speed in the sense that you think it is. The variations of speed as we spin around the sun, we have Jupiter and Saturn, which are in a 2-to-1 resonance, not residence. I can't even speak properly. You've got me so frustrated. They have an effect on the gravity to Earth. They help Earth's orbit remain stable. Without these orbits, you wouldn't be alive right now. Earth would probably be something like Venus or Mars, or both. That would be interesting. And as for this image, balancing some balls on top of each other is not proof that the Earth is motionless. It just proves that this guy is really good at balancing bowling balls. It's not fucking rocket science.
Yet, meanwhile, you can stack a house of cards, make a rock cairn, or play a game of Jenga, all without any of this motion, acceleration, and deceleration ever being felt or experienced.
As I said, you are very, very small. The Earth is very, very big. And thank God this is the end of the video. Oh, God, he drives me nuts. That was yet another display of intellectual dishonesty from Eric. He can't seem to grasp even the most basic ideas of physics. He has it so set in his ways. It's the same with any conspiracy crackpot, really. They have this mindset that they are correct, no matter what evidence is given to them to the contrary, to show them that how wrong they actually are. I'm not going to bother about putting in distances and speeds and things like that. You will know it already. Yeah, it's why you watch this stuff. You watch to watch me make fun of complete and utter morons, basically. The problem is that he's got a following, like a cult. And these cults are on Discord. And if you were to join a Flat Earth Discord server and say anything negative about the Flat Earth, you are either instantly banned or they just pile onto you. And if you were to make the unfortunate mistake of joining a voice chat, they would just constantly yell over you and say, your proofs mean nothing. Blah. No matter what you show them, they're so set in their ways, and they're so determined that they are correct, even though reality tells otherwise. It's this kind of mindset that is quite disturbing to me. I see how a lot of religions and other cults are founded through this. It's basically the mindset of believe what I believe or I'll fucking kill you. It's the same mentality. And it needs to be stopped if we are to evolve as a species and to get out into the universe. We need to put an end to all these ridiculous notions that people have. But that's a whole other topic entirely, and a little too serious for this channel. So, thank you all so much for watching, And as always, a special thank you to Purple Haze, Caustic, Lisa, and Jez for their support over on Patreon, as well as all the other Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the channel, you could do so via Patreon. I have also now got Discord memberships, which give similar benefits to Patreon, but they don't get the shout-outs that patrons do. But you don't have to do either of the things to support the channel. You can simply click the like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Drive up that engagement. And until next, friends, remember, don't be a dick.